Hey everybody, Mark from Northeast Bass Fishing. How you guys doing? Well, as I said in my short the other day, the next video I was working on is a video on blade baits. And it might be the best option when the water is really cold. When you've got water that's in the upper 30s, low 40s, sometimes this is the only thing that I can get a bite on. Now, let's say you're new to my channel, you're new to blade bait fishing, you don't know what it is. This is probably the standard blade bait option, which we call the Silver Buddy. If you guys go to your, Walmart or wherever you buy fishing stuff, you'll see the Silver Buddy pretty much anywhere you go that sells fishing stuff. And what it is, I'll show you one here without hooks. This, I believe, is a 3/8 ounce one. What it is just a molded piece of lead here on this metal body, and this mold gives this a really intense vibration when you pop it off the bottom. And we'll talk about how you fish them, the setups I like to use. But it doesn't get any simpler than that. It's just a molded piece of metal with that, the way that lead is molded on the bottom gives it that vibration. And I don't know really if it's the vibration that attracts the fish so much. Is it they think it's a dying bait fish? To me, I think it's the vibration more than they think it's a dying bait fish, but it's probably a little bit of both. But when that water is cold and those fish are really stuck to the bottom, they're not chasing much yet, this might be the best way to catch them. One of the best ways, but sometimes it might be the best way to go. So I'm going to just show you first off here a few different styles of blade baits that I have and that I like to throw. So as I said, if you've never thrown one before, go to your local tackle shop, go to your Walmart, and you'll see Silver Buddies there. I prefer a 1/2 ounce to a 3/4 ounce. Now, this is a small one. I think this is probably a 3/8. 3/8 is fine too, especially if you're not fishing a lake with deep water. 3/8 is fine. It's going to give you that vibration. You could start there. Now, here's some Silver Buddies. This is the bigger size. I believe that's a 1/2. That's with the hooks on there. This one I've actually put some red hooks on. There's another Silver Buddy there. Here's some of the smaller Silver Buddies, the 3/8, I believe these are, in the gold color. This one's a little cleaner, as you can see it a little better. Sometimes gold is the best way to go. I don't know what it is about gold. Does it look more like a bait fish in the water? Because when I throw these, I tend to throw them in deeper water. Here's just some random brands. I bought these two here years ago at Wacky Worm in Pennsylvania. They may still have them, but it was like a bag of like 25 or something for like 10 bucks. It was, and the hooks are a little, aren't the greatest in the world, but I've caught fish with these. Those blade bait colors are kind of neat. Gosh, these hooks are sharp. I'm definitely gonna get some hooks on my finger doing this. I had to separate these because in the box the hooks are all mashed together. But this chartreuse and black one I've done well with, and this white with this redhead. So every now and then I'll throw them on there just to kind of change it up a little bit. Because now I mixed up a whole bunch of different ones with their hooks. So let's see. So the Silver Buddy I showed you, this is some other ones that are similar to the Silver Buddy. They might be Silver Buddies. I just don't remember the Silver Buddy having the red eyes. It might be, and I just don't remember. But you get the idea of that bait style. Makes a lot of vibration. Now, as years have gone by, obviously they made fancier blade baits. Now, here's a simple one. This is a Bass Pro Cicada. You guys may have seen in the catalog. Used to throw these a lot and catch fish on them. And what's nice about the blade bait is you'll catch bass with them, you'll catch perch with them, you'll catch crappie with them. When I lived in New Jersey, the lake I lived on, I'd go out on Thanksgiving morning. I'd always go out on my lake with my rowboat for a few hours and catch a ton of crappie on one of these little blade baits. Usually a Silver Buddy or one of these cicadas when I would throw them. I think Bass Pro still makes them. I believe also I think this is a Bass Pro version. This is like their version of it. It's got that reflective tape on there. But you can see they're all very similar body-wise. They all have that that body that gives it that vibration. Yeah, I think these are Bass Pro ones here. You guys can see that reflective tape on there. A few other ones. Let's see what else we got here. These, I believe, I got from Venom Lures a few years ago, because I like that. I thought that paint job was pretty cool. But as you'll see, guys, the bodies are all that same mold. Some are just painted different. You can try any paint job you like. Here's a different one. This is called the Steel Shad, and this is made from steel. This is their version of it. You guys will see them on any of the catalogs you look in, or any. That's got kind of like a reflective tape on there. I don't know if it's a reflective tape so much. Yeah, I guess it is. But the Steel Shad is a very popular brand. This is the, let's see what else we got here. This is the Demiki Vault, which is a nice blade bait. I think these are all half ounces in this. I just took a few of them out. I got a few different colors. I took a few out to show you. The Demiki Vault is a nice one. Let's see that. Another one of those Demiki Vaults. And this is the Jackal Keyburn, which I got last year, and I haven't really thrown that much. I'm going to try these this year. It says, these are nice. It says right on there, Keyburn. Jackal makes these. It's a half-ounce blade bait. It's like a perch type color or fire tiger type color. There's a blue one, blue and silver. Oh, got to turn this TV down a little bit. I keep hearing it. I don't know if that's coming over the mic, so I'll turn that TV down a little bit. It's got the BC Denver NCAA college hockey game on there. Denver was winning 2-0. I'm not sure how they're doing now, but back to the Keyburn. A couple of little colors of that. Another nice blade bait. There's a lot of options now. I mean, when I first started fishing, it was pretty much the Silver Buddy everybody threw. But there's that Keyburn there in a different color, kind of neat. Another one there. So that's another option for you. Let's see what other ones here. Ones I haven't shown you guys yet. This is the you guys have seen some of the other videos I've done. This is that 6th Sense version of it. Ouch. It's got those nice triple grip hooks. I haven't thrown the 6th Sense one yet, so I'm looking at trying it out this year. As you guys have watched my other videos, you've seen I got a few of them that slice. Now, what do they call that? Slice blade bait? I hope I got that right. But it's 6th Sense. If you go on the 6th Sense site, and I'll put a link to it. I think that's what they call it. But theirs is a 5/8. This is a 5/8, and I haven't thrown theirs yet, so I'm going to try it this year and see how I like it. Because I think this one right here from them, this gold one, will be very, very good. So I just haven't thrown it yet. But the blade bait that I probably throw on first every time I'm blade baiting, and like I did the other day when I caught that smallie, unfortunately he got off next to the boat, is the Binsky. The Fish Sense Lures Binsky, and they have a few colors that I really like. You cannot go wrong, and this I believe is a half-ounce size, with just good old silver in that Binsky or gold. And a lot of these are either, this is a 3/4 ounce, this is their heaviest size. Ouch. I am determined not to get a hook in my finger. Ouch. But that's that gold, which is very good in the 3/4 ounce. And here's the gold in the half-ounce, which I've obviously thrown more. It's a little more beat up. But the Binsky from Fish Sense Lures is probably my go-to one first when I'm going blade bait fishing. And I'll probably throw on that, that silver, which I had on the other day, or the gold. I also like, they have this black one with a blue stripe, which I do very well on. I like that one a lot from Fish Sense Lures, the Binsky. I also like, they have a Sexy Shad one on there, and this is a 3/4 ounce. You can see it's just it's more lead there, which gives it more weight, more vibration. If you're fishing deeper, you might like that 3/4. I tend to stick with the half-ounce, but sometimes if we're blade bait fishing, you might try different sizes. There it is in the half with that Sexy Shad color. There it is in the smaller one if you want something a little smaller. Maybe if the bait is smaller, maybe the 3/8 will be, or the 3/8 will be the one you want. I haven't thrown the 3/8 in a while. I kind of stick with that half of the 3/4. They have a red crawl, which is really nice, in the Binsky. Really cool. And the big size, 3/4. Usually when I'm ordering them, I'll get, if I'm getting a color I like, I'll get a half and a 3/4, just to have it in case I want that bigger size. I really like this one. I've done well with this one too. Their perch color, which has got a great paint job on it. So if they're eating perch and you're throwing this perch blade bait, that might be the ticket. See that orange on the belly there? And here it is at the 3/4. The perch is a really good one too. They all, I mean, ouch. I knew I was going to get a hook in my finger. Man, they are dangerous. This is a dangerous video too. Now I totally forgot what I was going to say because I put that hook in my finger, but oh, I know what I was going to say. I have caught fish. The only ones I have not caught fish on yet is the 6th Sense ones because I haven't tried them yet. All these other ones I've caught fish on. So you can go from the most economical version with the the Silver Buddy, where you can spend a little more. Now, none of these are overly expensive. Blade bait fishing is fairly reasonable, even though it is a bait you can lose, which we'll talk about. I'll show you the other 2 colors in the Binsky. Here's the Goby color, which is nice. Excuse me. I don't have a cough button here in the studio. And the last one, which I really like too, is that blue back with that chartreuse. All of these are good. I usually try a few different ones, but I'll usually start with the silver and the gold. If you were just going to buy 2, let's say Binskys, I'd buy a silver and a gold and start there. And then just, you know, try different colors as you get better at it, more faith in it. Okay, so that's just some of the different brands. The Fish Sense Lures Binsky, Bass Pro has their versions. You've got the Silver Buddy, you've got the Demiki Vault, you've got the Keyburn from Jackal, you've got the 6th Sense Slice, you've got Steel Shad. And a lot of companies make their blade baits, and it's really, everybody has pretty much almost, you know, pretty much the same body, other than maybe they put eyes on it, maybe they'll have the blade painted. Everything is pretty much the same. As far as my setup, and make sure you've got one of these wraps because this is so cool, as you know, we'll get it everywhere. This is, I know I showed you this setup the other day when I was doing my spring. Now if I can get the hook off the, you can see, oh man, this, as I said, this is a dangerous video. As you can see, I had that silver Binsky on the other day, 1/2 ounce. And this is just my my 7'3" medium heavy Abu Garcia Vendetta. That's a Ardent Grand Reel, lefty, which we'll talk about a little bit. And I think that's 12-pound fluoro on there. And this is a medium heavy rod. If you guys can, I don't know if you're going to be able to read all that on there. It might be too small, but you guys get the idea. Now, why do I use a lefty reel? I'm a righty. As we've talked about in some of my other videos on flipping and pitching, I use righty reels and I use lefty reels. When I first started bass fishing, I used only right-handed retrieve bait casters. Now, we're talking a long time ago. And I had a fishing buddy who always told me, Mark, if you're going to flip and pitch, you're a righty, use a lefty reel, because your rod is always in your power hand. You don't have to switch. If you're a righty, you think about it, you cast out with your right hand, you have to switch hands, engage the reel, and then switch hands again, and you're doing this. And then when you're, unless you're going to use your non-power hand to, you know, jig your jig or your soft plastic, whatever it is you're throwing. So I remember the day I bought 3, you know, I bought 3 Daiwa lefty reels from Bass Pro they had on sale, and went to in New Jersey into Monksville Reservoir, and I flipped all day with them until I got the hang of it. And I have not thrown anything but a lefty reel for flipping and pitching since then. I use lefty reels for a few things. I still have my righty reels, like if I'm throwing a spinner bait or a chatter bait or a crankbait. It doesn't matter if I switch hands. It doesn't matter. I could use a lefty if I want. I'm just used to it, so I just use the righty reel. Now, as far as throwing the Binsky here, or the blade bait, whatever one I'm throwing, I tried it with a righty and I tried it with a lefty, and I like the lefty because for the same purpose. I can chuck, and you can chuck a blade bait a mile. So I'm fishing in an area where I've got, I'm usually around deep water. I can throw that out and then engage the reel. I don't have to switch hands. I don't have to do any hands, and I can just sit there with my power hand the whole time working that blade bait. And the way you work the blade bait is you're going to throw it out, let it sink to the bottom, and then you're going to jig it just slightly, and you'll feel that vibration. What's nice about the blade bait is you'll know when it's clean, when there isn't any weeds on it, when there isn't any, because you're going to catch a lot of stuff on the bottom, because you'll feel that vibration. You'll feel it right through your fishing rod, and you'll feel it. You'll know it's working well. If it hits something, like the other day when I was fishing it, I wasn't getting it. All of a sudden I felt something on there, but you could tell it wasn't alive, and I pulled it up, and it was like an old cloth or something that somebody that had fallen in the lake. You will catch a lot of stuff off the bottom with a blade bait. When we throw these on Lake Champlain, we catch a lot of snail shells and clam shells, and just, you'll catch, old fishing line that's on the bottom, because you've got two treble hooks that are going right onto the bottom, and you're pulling them up, and you're moving them around through an area. Now, what's the negative is you will lose some blade baits. It's just the nature of the beast when throwing a blade bait, because you're going to throw it, and it's going to be, you don't know what's down there exactly, but there's going to be rock, there's going to be, maybe a tree, maybe a lay down, maybe a brush pile, whatever. Eventually you'll throw it and you're going to get stuck on something, and you can use one of those, bait knockers and try and get it off. When you're fishing from a boat, you can kind of move your boat around and get a different angle and pop them off. Now the hooks, usually it's better to have hooks that aren't really super strong, because if they're just kind of not super strong, but they will flex a little, then that might straighten the hook out, and you'll save the bait, and you can put a new hook on it or just straighten your hook out. It seems like whenever I've changed hooks and put heavier hooks on, it hasn't worked as well. But so the bad part of, I don't say the bad part, but just, in any fishing lure, you can lose it. You will get hung up occasionally on with a blade bait. It does happen, but it can be the best way to go. When those fish are suspended right off the bottom, they're laying on the bottom, that water's cold, they're not moving, and you get that blade down there, and it's popping along, and it's making that vibration and going up and then coming back down, and making that vibration, coming up and going back down. You will get some good bites. And I know, on around here where I live, when I fished on Lake Champlain, when I used to live in New Jersey, there were some times where the only way you could get bit was on the blade bait. So it's a great technique for when you first get out in the season, especially if you live up here in the Northeast like I do, and we've got cold water. Now the water's probably warmed up a lot, but as you guys saw on my short the other day when I talked about my fishing outing, that water was 42 degrees and it was cold. And those fish were not in the mood to chase any moving bait. They were not interested in. But I did at least get some action on the blade bait. If it wasn't for the blade bait and the hair jig, I wouldn't have caught anything except a pickerel on a jerk bait. So it really can be effective if you're fishing really cold water. In the spring, if you're in the Northeast, if you're in the fall, that water starts to get cold. Fish are in the bottom. Fish are, if the bait is on the bottom, or, out there somewhere in the middle, and you're out a little deeper, and you're just popping that blade bait along, it's the way to go. It can be the way to go. And just to show you again all the components of a blade bait, you're going to have your two treble hooks, and they all come with like your regular snap, if you guys can see that. And you can adjust that snap. A lot of blade baits, like this one, this Binsky, has 3 different holes. I usually leave it on the middle one, but sometimes I'll move it to the, actually the Binsky has 4. I didn't realize that. I hope you can see those on there. Let me get the gold one. You might be able to see it better. See, that's got 4 holes in it. So I tend to leave it in that second, or if you're going from the front, second or third one. I don't usually put it on the ends, but you can, if you're throwing it, you can switch around that setting, and it'll give the bait a different, it's going to be different as you think about it. If it's in that front hole, it's kind of probably that's going to be more nose down. If it's in the back one, it'll probably be, guys can imagine what it's going to be like. Now, I tend to keep it in those middle 2 holes there, just out of habit, and it just seems to work the best. Because sometimes you'll catch your line on, if you'll feel it like, oh man, it's not, something's on there. Is it weeds? Is it something? Is it, snail shells or clam shells, whatever? And you'll pull it up, and your line will be stuck around your treble. That does tend to happen. That'll happen sometimes. If you find it's happening a lot, you can move your snap around to different holes to kind of try to see if that helps. It makes a difference. But it's pretty simple. It's pretty simple fishing. Now, if you're fishing from a boat, it's obviously a little easier. If you're fishing from the bank, it can be tough. If you're fishing a real wood, if you're a shore fisherman, and it's a lake that has a lot of wood or grass, it can be tough. I wouldn't recommend a blade bait there. Now, if you have a pretty lake that has a kind of a clear bottom, maybe some scattered rock, you can probably get away with it. Now you get, it's tough to maneuver to get to it if you get it hung up, if you're fishing from the bank. But, it's worth a try. I mean, I have heard some people tell me that they throw them out and slowly swim them back to the boat, and they catch fish on them. I've never really had any success doing that, but I've heard people that say they've done it. But that's it, guys. It's really, I think it's probably I don't know if I'll say my favorite, but I think my most productive cold water technique to use. The blade bait and the hair jig, when nothing else will work, when you're out there and that water is cold, the fish are not active. You look in the shoreline, there's not a bait fish to be found. The fish are still out. They're on the bottom. They're not anywhere that you can see if you can see 10 feet, you see no signs of life. When you say, I see, there's many times we've been fishing in the in the spring or the fall, we said, man, there's just no signs of life out here. I haven't seen a perch. I haven't seen a sunny swim by. Those fish are out. And if you're looking at your sonar, when I was looking at just my 2D sonar the other day, you could see all the fish pretty much when I'd see something. We're pretty much on the bottom or very close to it. So that's it. So I will put links to all these different companies that make blade baits. If you guys have a favorite out there that I haven't mentioned, let me know, because I like to try different kinds. If you want to go economical, I would say the Silver Buddy is your way to go. They're probably the cheapest version out there, but they work great. I don't want to say cheapest version as they're no good. They work great. But even like a nicely painted Binsky is like $7, $8, which is not terrible. And they're great. They're great. So I mean, I like all of these. I probably use the Binsky the most, but I'm really looking forward to trying this 6 cents version. Want to see how I do with it? See how it feels? It's definitely got great components. The hooks are awesome. I'm always afraid, like, I'll be all excited to go up when I'm like next time I'm fishing or something, I'll be all excited to throw this gold one from 6 cents, and I'll throw it twice and I'll get it stuck on the bottom. Because you do tend to get them hung up. It does happen. If you're doing it, don't get frustrated. It's part of the game. Because you got to think about it. You got 2 treble hooks bouncing on the bottom of the lake, and you don't know what's down there. So give it a try. It's really a great way to give you some opportunity for some bites when that water's cold and those fish are still down deep. There's that key burn again, if you guys want to try that one. So I'll put links to the ones that I can find online. The Binsky, the 6 cents, and the other ones. The Silver Buddy, I'm sure you can get anywhere. But if I find some links to them, I'll put them up there. You guys can check them out. But, keep it simple. You could even, if you prefer spinning, you could use spinning. I've used spinning setups too for them. I just prefer the bait caster, the medium heavy bait caster 7.3, because I can chuck it a mile. I like it with not too heavy of a line. This is like a 12-pound fluoro. I like it with a bait caster, but If I had to throw it with a spinning setup, I'd be fine with it. If that's all you have, no problem. I don't really like braid with it. If you prefer braid, you could use it. I like the fluoro. If you like braid, I'm sure it'd be fine. I'm sure you could even use mono. You'll feel that stretch a little more. But I've kind of, the last couple of years, I've kind of stuck with like that 12-pound fluoro, and I seem to like it. It seems to work the best. But that's it. So if there's any questions on blade bait fishing, or if I forgot to mention anything, let me know. It's an easy way to fish. And as I said, in cold water, it's really a great way to go. And I don't do it much in the summertime. You know, you would think once the fish are done spawning and it's the summer and they're out in deeper water and maybe they're, you know, away from the shoreline and they're just chasing bait around, you could get out there and catch them, and you probably could. I just don't tend to use it in the warm weather. To me, it's a spring and fall technique that it really shines. It really shines at those times of the year. So if you guys are still in, you know, your water's still cold and the fish haven't really moved up yet, you're out there wondering why they won't eat your jerkbait like I was the other day, or why they're not around the rocks and I can hit them with a jig, try a blade bait. Give it a shot. See if they're still out in those deeper holes, winter holes, because they don't know that it's warmed up yet and they're still sitting down there waiting. So give it a shot. Give it a shot. So that's it, guys. So I hope you enjoyed it. As I said, any questions on blade bait fishing, put them in the comments. I love when you guys put comments on there. But you know, if you haven't tried it, you know, give it a shot. You might find you like it. And as I said, it's a great cold water technique. All right. So that's it. So thanks for watching. Please like and share the video. If you guys are new to my channel, haven't subscribed, please do. I'd appreciate it. All right. I'll see you guys soon on YouTube. Mark out.